Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For you who are new here, I am Emily. It's lovely to have you, or welcome. Why don't you hit that big old subscribe button that's... I don't actually know what side it's on. Down there somewhere. Welcome to a new series on my channel. How exciting. This is called the Sustainability Series. Woohoo! And I'm going to be talking all about how you can be more sustainable, how I'm sustainable, my struggles with zero waste, and just generally my journey through trying to be more eco-conscious and more responsible for how I act. So in this video, the first of the series, I thought I would be talking about sustainability and low waste solutions for students. So this is basically low budget ways for you to save the planet, because as a student, I really don't have much money. So I have to try and be as clever as possible with my spending and go for the lowest budget option possible, but still pay the extra money to get something that doesn't have packaging or buy fresh fruit and veg without plastic on them. And I basically just want to talk to you about ways that I find really helpful to keep my waste down and things that I found useful when I started reducing my packaging. In this video, I'm not going to mention diet like vegetarianism, veganism, stuff like that, because there's going to be a whole other video on that, so hang tight if you are here for that. I am going to briefly mention fashion and buying habits, but there will be another video on that as well, so I'm going to give you like a few teaser details, but I'm going to go into a lot more detail in my other video. Also, this is my opinion and what worked for me. This is in no way a definitive list of what you definitely should do to be sustainable, and it's also not everything you can do as well. There's so many other things. This is just my experience and what's worked for me, what I find useful thinking about, and what I found were the easiest things to change and some of the first things I changed. But without further ado, let's just crack on with my 5 top tips for living a more sustainable student lifestyle. That was really dramatic. Tip number 1 is only buy snazzy, new, sustainable, biodegradable stuff when the old stuff that you have either breaks, wears out, or is just runs out. So the best example I have of this is that at home we still use plastic straws, because a couple of summers ago my mum bought a big box of plastic straws before it really became the in thing to be using paper ones. So now we're using through the box of plastic straws that we have, so that they don't completely go to waste and that we haven't just bought them just to throw them away again and buy paper straws. So using a zero waste lifestyle isn't an excuse to buy new things and throw old things that are perfectly good away. It's not an excuse to shop, and it's not an excuse to splash out, because this creates waste in the stuff that we needlessly replace. If I had a fully functioning hairbrush that was really nice but it was made of plastic, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to chuck that away and get myself a new bamboo one, then that plastic is going in the waste completely needlessly because it hasn't lived its full life yet. And this also makes it so easy to only replace one thing at a time, and it's kind of working in baby steps. If you replace one thing, like say for instance your hairbrush breaks and you want to buy a bamboo one, you buy that bamboo hairbrush, and that's one thing that you're replacing that you need to replace anyway, so it makes it a necessary expense, and you're not throwing anything away to buy something new. You're buying something new because something old is broken. Tip number 2 is slow down your buying. Oh my god, Instagram gals, you are so bad for this. I see so many people on Instagram and YouTube who will just buy clothes for the sake of buying them and only wear them once. I cannot stress this enough how much it contributes to fast fashion. And again, I'm going to do a whole other video on this, so I'm just going to cut that sentence right off there before I go too crazy into it. I find a really good way to manage this is by budgeting or creating spending bounds or rules around what you can and can't buy in a certain period of time. So for instance, because I'm a student, I get £50 a month. £50 a month? Oh god no. I get £50 a week to spend on food, transport, anything I don't use I can put into my savings, going out, socialising. Like, I get £50 a week to live, especially because I don't have a job anymore. That's a really restricting budget for me. So for example, at the moment I'm saving to go on holiday, so anything that doesn't come out of my £50 budget on food or petrol or like the bare essentials that I need goes into a piggy bank and gets saved for holiday. which means at the moment the thing I'm spending my money on is saving for my holiday, rather than thinking, oh, I'm just going to do an ASOS shop and I'll pay for my holiday later. That's essentially my budget. Anything I don't spend on essentials has to be budgeted for holiday, and once I've paid off that holiday, then I can budget it on something else. The idea is enforcing those spending limits, all those budgets, to realise where your unnecessary spending goes. I wish I could do an ASOS shop a week like some people do, but I know that A, I wouldn't end up wearing all the clothes, which would be so wasteful, and B, I can't even remember what the second one was. And B, I know I don't need those clothes. I have a perfectly good wardrobe full of clothes to wear at the moment. Again, another video on this. It is coming. Can you feel the rage bubbling out of me? Another tip is to mend, rework and recycle your clothes. I cannot stress this enough, how we have forgotten to mend broken things. If something breaks, we throw it away and buy a new one, and that's so wasteful when it's so easy to fix things. All you need is a thread and a needle and basic motor skills to sew something up. If your strap breaks on your dress, sew it back on. If you get a little rip in something, sew it back together. You can even buy stuff that you stick onto the back of something and iron it on, and it like bonds it together. It's so easy to fix things, and I don't know why we don't do it more, but it is the best tip because it literally costs nothing to fix something, and it costs money to buy new stuff. People say if a light bulb breaks, you don't buy a new house, you fix the light bulb. Tip number 3 is see swaps as an investment. By swapping single-use products for a multi-use product that's going to last you a long time and a lot more uses, you actually end up saving money in the long run, which to me is a bit of a no-brainer, and you'll only ever need to buy the thing once, unless it breaks or gets old or unsanitary, in which case you'll need to buy a new one. But on the grand scale of things, you will be purchasing a lot more and saving money as well, which means your long-term spending is reduced. And if you are a student like me, your long-term spending is something really important. Fair enough if you want to buy a Domino's once in a while, but in the long run, if your food shop is £1 less a week, that's £52 less a year. That's £52 worth of Domino's you could treat yourself to. Just saying. So I have compiled a list. Things that you can swap for your single-use products. Are you ready? Silicone sponge, metal straws, Tupperware, a metal razor, moon cut period pants, face halo, metal thermos / bottle, or a reusable coffee cup. I wrote that list in about 10 seconds, and it was just the first couple of things on top of my head. There are 100% definitely so many more things out there like this. This is just a few examples, but you kind of get the gist. There's so many things you could swap out that will save you money in the long run and be better for the planet. Tip number 4 may seem really there's a person watching me from across the thing. Shit, oh my. Right, that was the most terrifying experience of my life. Basically, the guy whose garden is over there just like walked down his path, and I made like eye contact with him, and he saw me talking to my phone on a tripod. I think I was on tip number 4. Yeah, tip number 4 is don't be scared. It can be a really daunting thing if you think you have to change everything and go from just consuming normally to having a complete zero waste, completely 100% ethical lifestyle like that. It literally doesn't have to be like that. If you make one change at a time and allow yourself to settle into the new changes you've made, it almost becomes just like you haven't really done anything. Basically, if you just make one change at a time, it makes it so much easier to settle into, and it makes it easier to move forward and to not fall back into your old ways. Also, it's really important to be open to try new things. I've met so many people who harp on about being good to the environment, but are really closed-minded in terms of trying new things and giving vegan food a try. So many people will shut me down when I'm like, oh, I might give vegan a try, and they're like, nah. I thought oat milk was a disgusting concept. I just didn't want to go near it. Soy milk, almond milk, I might get corn being made of fungus for a long time until I tried it. Now I'm completely vegetarian. The only milk I buy now is oat milk. Big up Oatly. It's all about trying new things. If you're closed off to trying new things, you'll never be able to progress. So keep an open mind and give things a shot. If you don't like it, no stress, at least you've tried. So tip number 5 is is less of a tip and more of a sustainability starter kit, and it's kind of a list of things to start doing if you want to change if you want to reduce your waste, and if you're starting from nothing and this is, you know, you want to just get some inspiration of things you can do that are just super easy things, this is your list. I'm going to list them. They're in a list on the list making laptop. Tip A. Hold on to plastic bags when you go shopping. If you have to buy them, then at least let them live out their purpose and use them until they break, because otherwise you're going to be buying more plastic bags when you go out. If you just carry one around and use that one until it breaks and then buy a new one, you're going to be using less. B, and I'm really sorry I'm going to sound like your mum right now, but there's food at home. Make your packed lunch, take it in a Tupperware to uni, to school, to college, to work, wherever you go, and eat it and come back and clean the Tupperware, rather than on your lunch break going to Tesco or Co-op or like wherever you go and buying a meal deal. If you think about the waste of the packaging of a meal deal, you've got the sandwich carton or the pasta pot, you've got your drinks carton or can, and you've got your packet of crisps or pack of fruit or chocolate bar wrapper, and that's all going in the bin. Item C is bag a reusable cup. Girl, come on, Starbucks sell them for £1, and yes, they're plastic, but if you reuse it all the time, then it's worthwhile. You can buy more expensive glass ones, metal ones, ones that are made of rice and decompose. You can spend how much you want, but you know, it's an option. Starbucks sell one for £1, and if you use it at Starbucks, they take 25p off your drink. You have to use it 4 times to get your money back, and then any time after that you're actually saving money, and most coffee shops do that now. They do it at my uni, they do it in Costa, they do it in Starbucks, I'm pretty sure they do it in Cafe Nero and Pret as well. You're basically saving money. D, bamboo toothbrush. A saviour of my life. Probably the first thing I actually changed, to be honest. Dentists say you should actually change your toothbrush every 3 to 4 months, which means you're buying a new toothbrush every 3 to 4 months anyway. So next time you buy a toothbrush, which will be within 3 to 4 months, depending on when you just bought your toothbrush, swap to a bamboo one. And if you're sat there thinking, oh, I've got an electric toothbrush, so I have to use plastic. No, you don't, because loads of places online, on eBay, on Amazon, on Etsy, small shops are now selling bamboo electric toothbrush heads. So you've got no excuse now, and I even saw Colgate have started doing some bamboo ones, and they're available in Boots. And my last tip is change your attitude. A change in attitude leads to a change in action, and change in action will lead to a change in culture. And changing the culture is what we need to do. We need to make it the norm for things to be sustainable, for us to look after our planet and be conscious of how much waste we produce and how much bad shit we're putting into the air and into the environment. And the decisions you make will influence others as well, like your peers. I've made at least 2 people vegetarian now, just from being veggie for a year and a half. If you do it, someone else will think, oh, actually that's quite a good idea, like that looks quite bougie. Even if they just think you look cool doing it, if they start doing it, then that's a win for the planet. Those are my 5 top tips for reducing waste as a student. Thank you guys so much for watching. It has been lovely ranting about sustainability, which is just what I usually do in real life anyway, but just to a camera and making it productive. If you enjoyed this video or found the tips helpful, give it a big ol' thumbs up and hit subscribe so that you don't miss any of my other sustainability videos in the future, because they will be coming very soon. Also, if there's something I haven't mentioned that you think either I would find useful or anybody else would find useful watching this video, put it in the comments. I am always out to find new ways to be sustainable and to reduce my waste, so please hit me up if there's any advice you have. Basically, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you another day in another lovely video. Adios.